Good morning. We're at the North Side Cemetery of Butler, Pennsylvania. And this is the final resting place of our three times great-grandparents, Peter Cornelius Prugh and his wife, Charlotte Hassler. And they moved up to Butler in 1882 when Peter became the superintendent of the St. Paul's Orphans Home up here. And this is our Prugh monument. And on my right, we have their daughter, Etta Catherine Prugh. We have Charlotte Hassler Prugh, our three times great-grandmother. And we have the Reverend Peter Cornelius Prugh, our three times great-grandfather. So let me tell you a little bit about Reverend Peter Cornelius Prugh. He was born on September 13, 1822 in his parents' Ashlawn farm in Kettering, Ohio. And he was the fourth child born to John Prugh and Catherine Haynes. He had a very amazing life, and he provided tremendous service to our nation. He established churches, he preached as a main pastor in several areas, his role in the Civil War as a volunteer, and he established orphans homes in both Xenia, Ohio, and up here in Butler, Pennsylvania. So I'll just go through his list of accomplishments. In 1848, he graduated from Marshall College, and that's Mercersburg College, Mercersburg University now, today. In 1852, he graduated from the Eastern Theological Seminary in Mercersburg. And then he married Charlotte Hassler, and they moved out west to Xenia, Ohio. They had 11 children, including their second son, John Hassler Prugh, who's our two times great-grandfather. From 1852 to 73, he served as a pastor of the First Reformed Church of Xenia. In the 1860s, during the Civil War, he served with the Squirrel Hunters of Ohio, and he led humanitarian efforts for the field hospitals of the Northern Army. And after the war, he founded the Ohio Soldiers and Sailors Orphans Home. In 1873 to 1882, he served as pastor of the Church of the Cross in Cincinnati and the Reformed Church of Germantown, Ohio. In 1882, they moved up here to Butler, and he served as the superintendent of the St. Paul's Orphans Home up here in Butler until 1913. And in 1915, he retired, and he moved on to San Gabriel, California with his son William, we call him Uncle Will, and his daughters Mary Augusta and Frances Grace. And this is where they built their ranch in San Gabriel, on San Gabriel Boulevard, where it crosses over the Rio Hondo River. And we call that El Aliso Ranch. So in California, even at the age of 90, he taught Sunday school at the Alhambra Presbyterian Church. He was the president of the Centenarian Club of Los Angeles, and he became the oldest minister of the Reformed Church of the United States. So Peter died in California on June 3rd, 1920 at the age of 98, and his body was moved out here to Butler, Pennsylvania, to be with his beloved wife of 45 years, Charlotte Hassler. And this is Charlotte Hassler, our three times great-grandmother. Now Charlotte, she went by Lottie. She was born on April 11th, 1828 in Mercersburg, Pennsylvania, to Jacob Hassler, the carpenter, and Elizabeth Kiefer. So Charlotte, in fact, was born at the home on 54 Main Street that her father personally built in Mercersburg. And her ancestry goes back to a small village called Wachingen in Switzerland, and that's right next to Bern. And her roots go farther back to a Count Romer of Switzerland. He was the owner of vast land estates, and he was many times a millionaire. So Charlotte met Peter while Peter was attending Mercersburg College in 1845. And they moved to Xenia, where she had her 11 children I mentioned, including our two times great-grandfather, John Hassler Prugh. She helped establish the Ohio Soldiers and Sailors Orphans Home with her husband in Xenia, and she died July 7, 1898 at the age of 70 from Bright's disease. And she was buried here in Butler. And finally, this is their daughter, Etta Catherine Prugh. Now Etta, or Catherine, she went by, was the 8th child born to Peter and Charlotte, and she was born in 1863 and she died in 1887. while she's playing a tennis match with her sister Mary Augusta and 2 young men. She suddenly died while playing tennis, which is a sad story. And she was buried here in Northside Cemetery. So that's the story of our Prughs in Butler. And we have our 3 times great grandparents, Peter Cornelius Prugh, Charlotte Hassler Prugh, and their daughter, Etta Catherine Prugh. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the story.